Hey guys, how you doing today? It's Barb with Bows on Edge. I have several short stories I'm going to do um, instead of doing each individual 2-minute video. I'm just going to link them all together and do them that way. But it has to do with parents who kill their children. Again, what this channel is all about. So um, let's just get into it. Okay? So this one's about a 10-year-old who was crushed to death by his foster mother. Crushed to death. A 10-year-old boy was crushed to death after his 340-pound foster mom sat on top of him after he acted up. Jennifer Wilson was apprehended in Berrien County, Michigan, and could face up to 6 years behind bars. 6 years? That number's a little low. Court filings say she informed the police that Dakota Levi Stevens had fled earlier in the day. He went to a neighbor's home and begged them to adopt him, stating his parents hit him in the face. She discovered him at the neighbor's residence, and according to the court papers, the foster mom claimed Dakota began to misbehave when they returned home, throwing himself on the ground outside of her house. It is alleged that she sat on Dakota while contacting his caseworker, during which time the boy screamed and eventually ceased moving. Wilson confessed to the police that she initially believed the child was pretending until she rolled him over and noticed his eyelids were unusually pale. The foster mother disclosed to investigators that she sat on Dakota for approximately 5 minutes. Now, Dakota only weighed 91 pounds. The foster mother weighed 340 pounds. What did she think was going to happen? The Department of Child Services had assigned the child to her care just 1 month prior to the incident. The court affidavit reveals that Wilson appeared visibly distraught when police arrived. By the time they reached the scene, Dakota had stopped breathing and had no pulse. He was airlifted to a nearby medical facility where he was taken off life support just 2 days later. The St. Joseph County Coroner's Office declared Stevens' death a homicide. The affidavit also disclosed that authorities discovered a 20-second clip from the Ring video camera showing Wilson lying on the boy's neck and head area while he screamed. Another video from the same camera showed Dakota still screaming as Wilson remained on top of him, his cries gradually fading. Wilson can be heard yelling multiple times his name when she realized the child had stopped moving. She then instructs one of her other children to dial 911. She says, "I was laying on him, he was acting bad." Now, Wilson had 3 other adopted children living in her home. Now, Department of Child Services confirmed her foster parent license is currently suspended and under review for revocation. Do you think it's suspended? She's in jail. She's not fostering any kids while in jail. And why was this boy in foster care? I know that's none of our business, but I'm just curious. Why was he in foster care? If it had to do with his behavior, they should have had him in a home that specializes that kind of care. The next story is a body of missing 5-year-old found in Indiana River. 26-year-old stepmother Deanna Hollingsworth was arrested and charged with neglect after her 5-year-old stepdaughter was found dead in the Wabash River. In Knox County, officials said they received a 911 call around 2:40 p.m. from a concerned citizen in which the caller reported a child missing who had been playing in the river at Kimmel Park in Indiana. Multiple agencies rushed to the river and searched for the girl using a boat and sonar and dive teams. The girl's body was found by divers around 7:15 p.m. near the park's boat ramp. The child was in the care of Deanna at the time she vanished. Deanna was arrested and charged with neglect. An autopsy was done, but the results are pending. The Knox County Coroner's Office, along with local enforcement agencies, is working diligently to uncover the details of this tragic incident. Our thoughts and deepest sympathies are with Mila's family and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. The investigation is ongoing. These stories make me sick. A San Antonio mother who leaves 3 kids in a hot car. Come on, guys. I am so sick of reading about people who leave their children in hot cars. Why do so many people forget that their children are in the car? I don't understand how you do that. You put the child in the car, you're driving home or to wherever, and you get out of your car and you don't have a thought process of where your child is, that you need to get your child out of the car. The hell? A mother who police say left her 3 children in a hot car in San Antonio, Texas for nearly an hour while shopping was arrested after a Good Samaritan helped rescue them from the vehicle. She went shopping. That was so important to do by yourself and leave your 3 kids in the car. Officers were dispatched to the location after receiving a call from a bystander alerting them that there were children inside a vehicle that was turned off. First responders discovered a 1-month-old, a 2-year-old, and a 4-year-old in the car. The mother of the children was at the scene and stated she went inside a store and did not realize how long she was gone. Based on information gathered, the children were in the car for approximately 50 minutes. Almost an hour, people. Angela Garza Amador has legal representation. The woman who rescued the children took a video of the moment that she was walking towards the children's clothing store when she noticed a young boy in the car next to her. She said she felt her mother's instinct and decided to look inside and found another child in the car and alerted store employees to call 911. She then tried to open the door and she found it unlocked, so she helped the children while waiting for first responders to arrive. The boy was sweating profusely and was crying. It seemed like he was gasping for air. In the video, at least 3 women can be seen helping get the 3 children out of the car, including a baby from its car seat, as the 3-year-old boy cries while struggling to breathe. The woman stated she lives across town and hadn't been to that store in 10 years. She feels like God sent her there for these children. The temperature in San Antonio at the time was between 98 and 100 degrees. The temp in the vehicle could have reached 130 degrees. The children were transported to the hospital for treatment and were expected to be discharged from the hospital the same day. Child Protective Services was notified of the incident, and the children were not placed in CPS's care and were placed in the care of the family. Now, in Florida, cops find a 2-year-old trapped in a dark closet. 28-year-old James Spice and 27-year-old Rebecca Worthington were arrested after law enforcement found a 2-year-old barricaded inside a closet and an infant in need of hospitalization. They were both charged with 2 counts of child neglect. Investigators say they found the 2-year-old trapped in a small closet with no light. Officials say the door to it was blocked with furniture. The door to the closet had baby gates, dog gates, headboards, and pieces of wood and chairs tied together with bed sheets and belts blocking the closet door. Law enforcement also found a 2-month-old in their home with severe diaper rash spanning from the baby's thigh to the back that required hospitalization. An investigation revealed the infant had not been seen by a doctor since birth. Police found the children while responding to an investigation from the Department of Children and Families into the potential neglect of 4 children ranging in age from 2 months old to 3 years old. The additional 2 children in their care were placed with a responsible family member. So, who called child services, and how was this going on so long that these children that a phone call had to be made for suspected abuse or neglect? Why didn't you step in sooner? Here we have a Florida dad that's arrested after abandoning his kids, 9 years old, 10 years old, and 11 years old. A Florida father was arrested after he allegedly left his 9-year-old daughter and 2 other young children, ages 10 and 11, on an island, even though he was supposed to be supervising their camping trip. The father, Leonard Nile, was reportedly tasked with watching the children during a Memorial Day trip. He allegedly left the 3 children on Sampson Island, where a pair of Good Samaritans eventually found them screaming for help. The children were alone for approximately 4 hours in Satellite Beach, Florida. Not sure if I'm saying that right. Robin Suzanne, the mother of the 9-year-old girl, said she spent all day crying on Sunday after she learned of her daughter's harrowing experience the day before. She said she cried so much that she couldn't cry anymore. Robin said her daughter was staying with her best friend and was supposed to be watched by her father. She said she's looked after her daughter before, so she wasn't worried, but that's now changed, obviously. She said all the children became frightened after being alone and eventually went to the dock where they started yelling for help. Robin said she couldn't get there fast enough to make sure her daughter was okay. According to Robin, Leonard told the little girl that he needed to grab something from his truck, which was the last time the children were seen with him. Leonard was eventually arrested and charged with 3 felony counts of child neglect without great bodily harm. At one point, he called 911 and said he had lost contact with the children. Responding officers said Leonard was emotional when they arrived. They said that his mood was fluctuating wildly. They described yelling and even crying while discussing the missing kids. One officer also noted he could smell alcohol on Leonard's breath and suspected he was intoxicated. Leonard told the police that he and a woman he was with, which was Kayla Campbell, were planning to camp that evening, and he had returned home to pick up his camping gear. He mentioned that he left 2, not 3 children on Sampson Island with a dog. Leonard and Kayla drove out to the island to help a responding officer find the children. The responding officer said it was difficult to gather a comprehensible statement from the pair due to their suspected intoxication. He also noted that both seemed convinced that only 2 children were out on the island when there were actually 3. The Good Samaritans who helped the children confirmed to police there were 3 youngsters left on the island. The police report claims Leonard admitting to smoking marijuana, using cocaine, and drinking beer before he met with police on the night of the children's disappearance. He also had medicine that one of the children needed in his truck. A judge set his bond at $7,500. Mm, mm. People, I get so aggravated by these stories. 24-year-old Nasha Lumpkin from Buffalo, New York, is facing child endangerment charges after her 2-year-old son was found inside what police called a makeshift cage. She was arrested in February 2024 after New York State Police executed an arrest warrant for a previous crime and made the horrific discovery inside Nasha's home. Authorities stated the 2-year-old boy was found inside the cage, which the troopers described as a playpen that was covered by a piece of a crib tied down on 3 sides of the top, not allowing the child to stand or exit the playpen. So there was a mattress on top of the playpen so that the child couldn't crawl out. Both the cage and the child was covered in human fecal matter, which was also found smeared on the walls. The child and bedding were soaked in urine. The child was also found to have bones from chicken wings around him. It was something where you look at it and it was disgusting. It was something that no one would want to see. It's one of the hardest calls for any law enforcement to deal with. There were some excuses as to why the child was in the cage like that. None of them were good reasons. Why would you want your child in a cage? You shouldn't be a parent if you need to cage up your children because you don't want to be bothered. Anyone that has kids or anyone that has seen it, that there is no reason for a child to be not only living like that, but as a parent to put a child in that type of situation. Child was taken to the hospital while Nasha Lumpkin was taken in for the arrest warrant and also hit with a new charge of child endangerment. While at the hospital, the boy was found to have bruises to his face and body. He also had 2 fractured ribs in the healing stage, meaning the fractures likely occurred 10 days to 2 weeks beforehand. Though the child's mother allegedly said his injuries were the result of the boy falling down the stairs in late December 2023 to early January 2024, but she didn't seek medical help. So, my questions and comments? Thank goodness for the warrant, or who knows what would have happened to that child. That child could have died. So what possesses a person to feel the need to cage your child away? So, as far as I'm concerned, she should get the same treatment that she gave her child. So the next story is about stepdad who punched a toddler so hard it killed him. A 30-year-old man from Pennsylvania has been charged with murder. The child was under the care of Enrique Lopez Gomez while the mother was at work. It is alleged that Gomez became so frustrated with the boy's crying that he punched him in the stomach, leading to the child's death. Gomez was reportedly trying to change the boy's diaper when the incident occurred. Unable to calm the crying child, he allegedly lost his temper and struck the child. He then put the child down for a nap. Gomez was arrested June 27, 2024, and faces charges including third-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and among other offenses. Now, third-degree murder is when someone intentionally causes someone else's death while committing a dangerous act. Involuntary manslaughter is the unlawful killing of a person without malice or intent. It's considered the lowest category of homicide because it doesn't require deliberation, premeditation, or intent. His bail was set at $10 million. The toddler's mother had been in a relationship with Gomez for 6 months, during which time he had become an unofficial stepfather to the child. On the day of the incident, she had left her son in Gomez's care while she was at work. Gomez attempted to change the child's diaper, but became frustrated with the child's continuous crying. In his frustration, he hit the child hard in the stomach. When the exhausted mother returned home, she mistakenly thought her son was ill and took him to her sister's house. Gomez kept quiet about hitting the child even as the toddler's health worsened over the next several hours. Later, the mother's brother called emergency services on June 24th at 10:58 a.m. Detectives from the Chester County District Attorney's Office were called to an unresponsive child at a residence. Upon their arrival, they saw the toddler's mother exiting the house, carrying her unconscious child wrapped in a blanket. She handed him over to the emergency medical team. The Chester County District Attorney filed a criminal complaint stating that the toddler had white foam coming out of his mouth and nose. No pulse was found by the medical responders. They also noticed bruising on the child's body, which led them to immediately notify the police. The toddler tragically died from the severe blows shortly after arriving at the hospital at 12:16 a.m. on June 25th. Furthermore, his post-mortem examination confirmed that his death was a homicide, resulting from blunt force trauma to the abdomen. Nonetheless, the family confirmed that there wasn't any history of violence, and the attorney testified that there was no record of prior abuse. I have one more story, and then that's it, guys. A dead 9-year-old who was left on the couch for 2 days. A 9-year-old boy was left dead on a couch for 2 days in a garbage-filled home with no running water. The child's father, 38-year-old Joseph Antonison, or Antonson, I butcher names, I'm sorry, people. Joseph Antonson was arrested Sunday, July 14th, in his home near Tucson, Arizona. Anderson told deputies his son had been sick for 2 days prior, so he went to start his car so he could get medical help for his son. When he went back into the house, he found the boy shuddering and going limp. The child then stopped breathing, and he said he couldn't find a pulse. Instead of reporting the incident to authorities or calling 911, the father left the home for 2 days. How you pretty much watched your child die, and then you left him sitting there for 2 days, dead, on your couch. And at what point did you think this was okay, or that nobody was going to find him like that? Deputies said they responded to the home and discovered it was cluttered and filled with garbage, including piles near where the child's decomposing body was found on the couch. Additionally, there were empty beer cans, large piles of soiled diapers, rotten food, bottles full of what appeared to be urine, lots of insect activity, and spiders, which included black widows and brown recluses in the home. The home also didn't have running water or working toilets. Anderson was charged with negligent and homicide and child abuse. He faces 1 felony count of neglect homicide and 2 felony counts of child abuse. He is currently being held on a $500,000 bond, and his preliminary hearing is scheduled for July 25th, which you guys know I will follow up on to see what his actual sentencing turns out to be. So that's all I have for you guys today. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me, hit that notification bell so you can be notified the next time I upload, and please, guys, consider subscribing to my channel so that I can keep growing. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I will do my best to follow up with you. Thanks, guys, for watching. Peace.